Clark Diggs in lane 3, April Svenstrup in lane 7.
Hey, Autumn Athletes, Larry Sorensen here, and today I'm going to connect with April Svenstrup and find out what makes her an Autumn Athlete that's not done yet. Remember, if you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and ding that bell for notifications. All right, let's get this thing started. April, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you kick us off with a brief introduction of yourself?
Hello, my name is April Svenstrup. I am 60 years old. My husband and I have 8 kids total. I have 4, he has 4, 3 girls and 1 boy. I am a preschool teacher as well as a wellness advisor for a local gym here in Fishers, Indiana.
Well, April, it's great to meet you. Thanks again for coming on. Before we talk about what you're doing now, let's get a little history of your athletics. Tell us what you did in sports before you got involved with Masters Track and Field.
I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and when I was in elementary school, probably about 3rd or 4th grade, I started doing gymnastics, and I was pretty decent at that. Along with volleyball, I was a really good volleyball player. I was one of the few that could serve overhand at that age, and dodgeball. And I was so good that I beat the boys. And one of the kids was so upset with me that I caught his ball. He was looking for me at the end of the period, and he wanted to have a fight with me because he lost to a girl. So that was kind of pretty funny. And then, and I was competing at local races at that point. I was doing the, I think then it was called the 100-yard dash. It wasn't meters then. Yeah. And so I was always placing like at least 1st or 2nd place. And then from there, I left the school and went to a junior high school in Cincinnati. And then I competed in middle school, and I was still pretty good there. And that was basically all I did in middle school. And then from middle school, I went to high school. And that was a different ball game. So I stopped running. And then once I went to high school, I started again in the 11th grade. I did long jump, and I think they called it broad jump back then. Yeah. And I did the hurdles and the 100-meter hurdles or dash. And then I did the 100 to 4x1. And I may have done a 200. I'm not for sure. And I was okay with that. And then it started to get a little bit more difficult because now you're going by grade, not your age. And I felt like I just wasn't motivated enough to run. And I just felt like everybody was faster than me. And I'm very competitive. And I just felt like, I just didn't want to put in the work. And so I stopped running. And I was probably about 16 years old. Then I had 4 kids. I was raising my kids. So we would race, and I would beat them all the time until they got a little bit older. And so once they got older, I was like, okay, you're pretty good. So my kids were, I had 4, and all 4 of them ran track. And they did other sports as well. One was a gymnast. So she got tired of doing gymnastics. She competed like major events. And when she turned about 13, she's like, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. I said, well, you're going to do something, and you're pretty fast, because she was really good on vault. So she ended up running track in 6th grade. We moved from Tennessee back to Michigan. Well, Tennessee back to Michigan. And then she started running track, and she was really, really good. And so she ended up getting a scholarship at Ball State University. For my son, same thing, played basketball. He didn't want to do it anymore. Like, you're going to do something. So he did hurdles. He got a half scholarship in Michigan as well at Adrian College. And then my daughter, my other daughter, the oldest, did track. She was okay. She did it when she was in 11th grade, but she did it till 12th grade, but she didn't want to do it anymore. And then my youngest daughter, she has special needs. And so she did Special Olympics. So she was pretty good too. So we all come from like a track family, but the difference with them and me is they were dedicated, and I don't think I was dedicated. So just raising them, going their track meets, and then I'm working in Ann Arbor, Michigan at the time at a school. And so I was talking to one of my coworkers named Troy, and I was like, man, I want to get back into running again. And he said, well, you can. It's Masters Track and Field. I said, it is. I just didn't think it was anything for our age. So I said, okay. So I looked it up. I said, these people are running at an older age. And at that point, I was 50 years old. I said, let me try it again. So I tried. My first meet was in Nashville, Tennessee. And I think I did the 100 meters. It was 16 something, which I thought was pretty good. But I didn't know what I was doing. I just went out there and ran. And then I did the 60 meter, which I ran a good time, which was like 8 something, was almost unheard of. but they measured the officials measured it wrong. So they measured it 50 meters instead of 60 meters. So my time, but it's still posted as like I really ran that time.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that was their mistake. And so after that, I started training a little bit more, running like at local track meets in Michigan, and then from there, it just kind of took off.
How has it been going, getting back into running after being off for so long? Have you had any kind of injuries or issues like that, or any other issues that have set you back during your training and competing over the last 10 years?
The injury that I had, and I was kind of lucky because most of the people I compete with have a lot of injuries. And I'm not having those injuries because I've never ran in college and basically, high school. So I haven't been running all those years. And so the only injury I had was a couple of years ago was the Pan Am Games in Cleveland. My hamstring was bothering me. So I still ran the 100 meters and I placed third, but my time was kind of crappy to me. And then I could not do the 200, and I tried my best to run it, and I decided to drop out of it because I didn't want to injure myself for that one race and be out for like 6 months. So I dropped out. So now my hamstring bothering a little bit, but not as much as it was.
You're having great success, and I know you're just coming off a very successful big meet.
Yeah.
So fill us in a little bit on your PRs in general, but certainly your latest events and your successes there.
Okay, so my PR is not my all-time PR. My all-time PR for the 200 meters, and I think it was about 4 years ago at Olivet meet, and that was 31:98 for the 200 meters, which was pretty good. So I never was able to get back down to that. So I think last year was 32:12. I got down to, but this year at the the Alabama games,
yeah,
my PR for this season was 32:4.1, and it was a headwind, I think, of -2. And I'm not making that excuse, but they say that does make a difference. So I believe that I would have been in the 31s, but my goal is just the 30, just to be really competitive and place in the top 3.
So what other events did you run besides the 200?
So my PR for the first time was a 9.55 indoor. So I've gotten better at that. Usually it's like starting off 10.1 and it'll go down, but it went down to 9.55. So I'm really excited about the indoor. The outdoor 100 wasn't my best because I false started. I stood up, and which I should have never tried that. So when I stood up, I false started. They gave me a yellow card. And so when I got the yellow card, I was so nervous that I made sure when they did the gun, everybody was already out. And then I ran out. And so my time was like a 16 something. I'm like, I've never run a 16. And so when I made the finals. And so when I did it again, it was like 15.4 because I was so nervous that I just made sure that gun sounded, before I went out. So that wasn't my best time. My best time was probably 15.07, but I was okay with that. I still got third.
So what's on the horizon for you? You said you're gunning for that 30-second 200. Are there any other times? Are there any big meets coming up? What's on the future horizon?
Masters Nationals in Iowa is coming up next week. So I am going to try my best to run as fast as I can at that meet. I'm doing a 50 to 100 and 200 meters.
So we want to know how you're going to do that. So tell us a little bit about your training regimen. What do you do on the track, off the track, in the gym, what have you?
And I think that's the toughest thing that I've had to deal with because most of the time I'm training by myself for the last 10 years. Every now and then I might get a coach to help me train. So I'm out there just trying to look at YouTube videos or have my husband film myself, and it's just kind of tough. So I'm on the track, and it's probably too much, but at least 4 to 5 times. And then once I'm off the track, I'm training in the gym. But I'm doing like repeats of 150s. I'm doing like 3 of those. I'm actually timing myself running 100%. I probably shouldn't, but I do. And I try to get down with that time, and I have a vest on. And the vest weighs about 10 pounds, and I try to get down in a certain time. And then from there, I'm doing like 20s and 30s, maybe 4 or 5 of those. And I'm doing 50s and 60s all in that one day. Then on the other days, I'm taking a longer run, maybe like a 300 run, and still trying to time that down as well. And then I do weightlifting, I do deadlifts, I do bench presses and all those type of things.
So do you do any fluctuation from in season to off season, or is it just pretty consistent all the way through?
It's pretty consistent all the way through. But what I was doing before, like 2 years ago, I would take off and I'm August because I get tired. Like I'm tired now because I ran a lot of indoor meets and I run a lot with college students because we don't have a lot of masters. And so I think I did about 6 indoor with college students. And then I did like maybe 4 outdoor and like 3 of them, 2 or 3 was college students. So I usually give myself a break for a couple of months. So now, well, when I do that, it takes a long time to get back into it. And I'm trying to fight to get my times down. So what I did this year is I took like 3 weeks off and I started in September and to condition. And so that has helped out. And so now I'm not fighting to get those times back down like I was. So instead of running a 33 in the first meet in the 200, I'm able to run a 32, which is very nice. Yeah. So that's kind of what, I'm doing now. So I'm going to take, after this meet in Iowa, I am going to take a 2-week break because I'm tired. And then from there, then I'll probably, do something in the gym and then I'll start back again.
All right. So obviously you're putting the physical work in, but you need to fuel the body as well. So tell us a little bit about your approach to diet and nutrition.
Man, I get stopped all the time from people saying, "Oh my gosh, what do you do? How do you, keep your figure?" Well, I do eat because most people don't think I eat, but I eat pretty healthy. I probably don't eat more than 1,200 calories a day, and that's not on purpose. Just that I'm not really hungry. But I do try to eat 5 meals, small meals a day. So I'll eat like for breakfast, I'll have an egg white omelet with mushrooms and onions. And then I'm not a vegetarian. I do eat meat, but I don't eat a lot of beef or pork. And then for a snack, I'll eat like nuts and fruit, vegetables. And so that's pretty much what I do. I do like today. I am going to get a chicken quesadillas. That's one of my favorites. So I'm going to splurge on that. But for the most part, I do eat maybe 5 little meals a day, and because I work out so much that I'm burning calories more than I'm intaking calories. So that's why I'm not able to probably gain any weight.
Now, do you like track your macros at all, your proteins, carbohydrates, fats, or do you just kind of eat healthy and eat?
I just kind of eat healthy, and I probably need to do that.
Well, it's interesting because there's people that really take that scientific approach, and other people, they just feed their body what it's telling them it wants. And I've seen success in both ways. So
yes, that's what I do. I don't really do all that kind of thing. So no, I really don't.
All right. So you're 60, you're having a ball, obviously, with this. What's the motivation to keep driving and training hard and doing all
I'm so competitive. I know there are so many people in my age group. So I just aged up. Yay. So and it's still competitive, and I want it to be. And I guess my goal is to be healthy, have a healthy mind, body. I meet people all over, but I do want to get my times way better, and I'm very competitive. It may sound terrible, but if I'm not competitive anymore, I probably don't want to do it. I don't want to run like a 17 or 18. That's just not my thing. Yeah. So my goal is to be where I'm at. The funny thing is, because even though I ran when I was 50, my times are kind of the same or a little bit better, which is mind blowing because most people, when they get older, their times are going down. Mine's getting better. So I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
So that's my goal, to just keep competing as long as I can.
So when you say that, you want to be competitive, or maybe it's time to hang it up, are you thinking more in terms of just self-competition and the times and the things that you want to achieve, or is it still about that other person in the lane next to you that you want to beat them?
I'm really happy when my times go down. It doesn't matter if they win so much. Yeah. If my times, I'm happy with my times. I'm not, I run my own race. And I do try to win. I'm trying to pump it up, but I can't worry about what the next person runs because their experience is totally different from mine. I've never ran in college, so I expect them to probably be better than me, but that doesn't stop me from meeting my goal.
All right. So if you could turn back time a little bit, maybe way back, would you have done anything a little bit different in regards to your health and fitness?
Well, you know what? I thought I wouldn't have, but I think what I would have did probably would have taken track more seriously. And probably put in a time, because I think I was really good. I think maybe being a teenager, adolescent at that time, I just wasn't really focused. But I know I probably would have been really really good. And I just wish I would have kept going like my kids did. And I would have probably had a scholarship, probably even went to the Olympics because I think I would have been that great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just stuck with it and I just gave up, I think.
All right. So you're involved in track and field specifically, but you mentioned something about just being healthy and feeling good and all that kind of good stuff. So if you could bottle your secret sauce to health and fitness in general for my audience out there, what would the ingredients to that recipe be?
I think you have to be healthy and happy. I think you have to take time out for you, set goals. You can do anything. It doesn't matter your age or sex. Just you can do whatever you want to achieve. I see people out there running and they're almost 100 years old. And so I don't know if that's going to be me, but that's a great achievement. And you can do whatever you want to if you put your mind to it. Like I tell people all the time, all you need, if they want to run, all you need is a pair of shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't cost you anything. You can walk on cement. You need a pair of shoes. There's no excuses.
That's something I usually ask folks, and I kind of didn't ask you earlier when I'm talking about training and then nutrition and so forth. But how about rest? How do you approach rest? Generally speaking, you mentioned a little bit about taking a couple of weeks off after the season there. But how do you manage your sleep in general and just keeping your body feeling good throughout the year?
Man, rest is so important. Unfortunately, my mind always going all the time. So I try to get at least 6 hours of sleep. And then far as resting my body, I got to be careful because I do want to run almost every day. But it's important to give your body a break because, if you keep doing it, you're going to injure yourself. But so it's important to just give your body a rest probably every couple of days. Since I had the Sunday was the last time I ran. I think I ran a couple of days ago, and then I'm going to run again Monday, and then I run again on Wednesday. So just to give your body a break and rest it, because if you don't, you're going to strain something.
So you mentioned, I'm going to go back to training a little bit, just because, many of the athletes that I do interview, they're not on the track more than maybe a couple of times a week. They do a lot of cross training or zone 1 training, those types of things. So it sounds like you're on that track kind of pushing it hard all the time, it sounds like. So,
yes.
That's obviously working for you. What do you think it is that's allowing you to do that where maybe many others, their bodies would fall apart doing that?
Probably because all those athletes probably, like I said, ran in college. I did not have to. They probably ran all year in high school. I only ran one, and I think my body's maybe fresher than theirs.
Yeah.
And then I'm motivated. I'm not saying they're not motivated, but I just think that's just how I am. I'm really competitive, and so I'm on that track. 90 degrees, 100 degrees. I'm sweating, and I want my times to get better. And so I got to do what I do. I got to make that time up. So, and that's what I'm continue to do it until my body says I can't.
Well, April, I want to thank you so much for joining us today to let us know what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. I'd like to wrap up today by giving you a few minutes here just to take the floor and give us some final thoughts.
It was very nice talking to you, and hopefully I can encourage someone who think they can't do it or they don't think they can, hopefully they can say, hey, I seen April, I can do this too. And so I hope I can encourage other people by this interview. I really, really do.
Well, there you go, folks. April Svenstrup. She is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, and train hard to achieve them. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.